Hey chicas, my last day in Cali, Colombia. I have spent the past 5 days here, the holidays, back home with the mama, with the friends, with everyone. It's been a great experience, and it also had me thinking a lot. Well, thinking as much as this freaking hit allows. And I decided to start a new section that I am gonna call the blame game. What is the blame game? The blame game is not something that is gonna be about, okay, you did this to me, for me, oh my god, it's all your fault. Although kind of. The idea of the blame game is for us to understand where some of our taboos with sex, self-love, relationships, and women empowerment come from. We were not born this way, girls. We weren't born with these crazy ideas about sex being bad, and about masturbation being evil, and about you have to get married to have sex. All these crazy ideas that some of us have. The first thing that I'm going to blame is the Catholic Church. It's all the Catholic Church's fault. And I'm going to tell you why. Well, I had to change locations a little bit because Cali, la capital de la salsa colombiana, was definitely blasting some music in the background. So hopefully our sound here is a little better. Back to the blame game. We're talking about the Catholic Church. The first time I'm going to talk about is evil masturbation. When I was little, very little, I spent a lot of time with the family nanny, who I now call my grandmother. This lady, very sweet lady, she was indeed, was brought up Catholic. My mom didn't believe in Catholicism, so technically my brother and I are not really Catholic. We're not really Catholic. I spent a lot of time with my nanny slash grandma. She believed in the Catholic Church and God like there was no tomorrow. Third location change. It's not really a location change because all this beautiful space that you guys see back here, that's my mom's rooftop. I wish I had a rooftop like this in New York. Anyways, back to my nanny. She was very Catholic, very, very Catholic. And from her, I learned my first evil lesson from the Catholic Church. Masturbation is a sin. Not only is it in my grandmother's head, but really says so in the Bible. You're not supposed to masturbate because it takes affection away from your significant other. And by significant other, I mean husband. No boyfriend, no fiance, because you're not supposed to be having sex with any of those dudes. You're only supposed to have sex with your husband. Anyways, masturbation is evil. And since I was a little girl, not really knowing what I was doing, because I don't think at 4-year-old you're really exploring your sexuality, although some psychologists might disagree, I was simply touching my body. When I was, getting bathed, I would touch my legs, and I would touch my butt, and I would touch my small non-existent breast at the time, and I would touch my vagina. And then my grandmother would go, "Sucia, puerca." Dirty and filthy for those all of you Hispanics who don't remember your Spanish really well, or non-Hispanic watcher. I grew up with the idea that touching my body in a sexual way, again, I don't know if at 4 I was thinking that I was masturbating, was sort of evil. It is to no surprise that a lot of Hispanic women, and a lot of women in general, but as Hispanics especially, grew up with this idea of our own bodies being a sin. Isn't that a little crazy? Am I the only one that thinks it's crazy? Let's say you do believe in Catholicism and in God. If you are God's creation, what is so wrong with touching your own body? You're beautiful, you're perfect. You should be allowed to touch yourself, enjoy yourself, and have some pleasure. Masturbation is not a sin. And it took me 15 years to realize that my grandmother, as good as she was extremely Catholic and didn't really know what pleasure was all about. I don't think that woman has ever pleasured herself. And I think that's a little sad. Do you think it's sad? And what about the monster of contraception? Condoms, pills, ring, vasectomy even, they're all considered evil. So you're not supposed to stop the natural birth of children of God. And yes, it is true. A lot of you will say, no, but my church allows it. Yes, a lot of churches have come to terms with the idea of contraception, but as a general idea, the Catholic Church does not embrace contraception. I know, right? Loco. But what's even more loco, they also see abortion as a sin and oftentimes a murder. Let me get this straight. You are not allowed to have sex using a condom with your significant other to avoid getting pregnant, but if you do get pregnant, you cannot have an abortion because that would mean you still end up in hell one way or another. So don't use a condom to prevent pregnancy, but don't have an abortion if you're not ready to be a mom. That leaves you with the option of, sure, not having sex, but we all know we're all having sex because it's fun and it feels amazing. So shouldn't they start rethinking the way that they look at these two options, abortion and contraception, especially contraception? If you can prevent the whole thing from happening, why would you say no? When I was growing up in Colombia, and I must have been probably 17, I had to do social work to graduate from high school. And I chose to do social work with a very low income community in Bogota, Colombia. These people all lived from recycling. Cans, newspapers, everything that you consider trash, which is actually reusable. They will grab it, recycle it, sell it, and live from that. Their life conditions were really, really bad. I mean, you had families of 13, husband, wife, and yes, I suck at math, okay? 11 kids. And my main goal was to convince these couples to find some sort of most likely permanent solution of contraception to avoid having more kids. You guessed it right. The answer would always be, we don't do it because God doesn't allow it, because it's a sin, because these are the children of God and God wants us to have children. So trust me, if you want to have kids, I think it's amazing. What I don't think is amazing is that the Catholic Church would condemn the people that follow them for not wanting or being capable of paying for kids. Kids are expensive. Last but not least, the whole view of the Catholic Church on homosexuality. This is the one that confuses me the most. We're all the children of God. We were created by Him. That's men and women, but not homosexuals, because homosexuals, even though they were created by God, later on made a choice to go against God's desire to have couples only being woman and man, meaning heterosexuals. They chose to go against His will. Therefore, they shall burn in hell for their own sexual desires. It was never a choice, but it is something that should be embraced, because I agree. If there is a God, God shouldn't hate somebody or consider them an abomination because of who the person that they naturally fall in love with. Yes, homosexuals love people of the same sex, and they're often form beautiful couples and beautiful married couples and beautiful couples who have those kids. Anyways, guys, I'm saying goodbye to Colombia, and I wanted to share with you that the main reason why I decided to do this video is because Colombia, like many other Latin American countries, is still pretty much strongly Catholic. And although I have nothing extremely important against Catholicism, I have to say that for once it makes no sense in many points. And it also restricts people from doing things that to me are natural and enjoyable, like masturbation, like having sex, like also making your own choices on whether you want to get married or not, on whether you want to have children or can even support those children. I grew up with a very strong Catholic grandmother, and I have to say that realizing that it was all the Catholic Church's fault was part of the beginning process to recovery, enjoying my sexuality and being a lot open to a lot of ideas and choices that women today should just have, regardless of which faith they decide to follow. I respect your beliefs, do what's good for you. In my case, it's still all of the Catholic Church's fault.